Coming to you live from Sunland Park Fire Department, Sunland Park, New Mexico. This is 110 floors for firefighter Henry Miller Jr. So here we go, 110 floors for firefighter Henry Miller Jr. from ladder 105, housed with engine 219, known as Nobody's Perfect, out of Brooklyn. This climb is dedicated to the FDNY off and on the line, to his wife Diane, his daughter Melissa, and his sister Janice. So this 110 is for them. A 28-year veteran of the FDNY. This is his honor climb. He said he had 3 different times where he was going to retire, but he stayed on instead as a chauffeur for the ladder 105. They're out of Brooklyn. We'll get it kicked off shortly, and 7 verticals, and this 110 will be completed in his 343 commitment and still counting memorial climb. So we're just about to kick it off. Back at it again. It's a long-term commitment. Definitely is not a race for another brother to go up vertical. But right now is that time for Henry Miller Jr., driver at ladder 105, there in Brooklyn, known as Nobody's Perfect, housed with engine 219. So right now, we're going 110 floors together. The third brother carried to the top for ladder 105. Joining Captain Brunton and firefighter Kelly when he gets to the top. This 110 is dedicated to his wife, Diane, daughter, Melissa, and sister. We're pushing them all the way up with honor and respect given till we reach the top. This is the 219th climb of the original 343 before I will take up the and still counting memorial climbs upon completion of the 343 commitment. Right now, this is for our brother who who followed his father's footsteps into the FDNY. He originally was going to be an accountant, going to college for it, and all that changed when he followed his father's footsteps and was on ladder 105, housed with Engine 219 there in Brooklyn. Nobody's perfect is the nickname for the house. This 110 floors is to pay honor and respect to the sacrifices made on and after 9/11/2001. Our brothers were part of the greatest rescue effort in U.S. history, on the back of the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. So right now, we're going up, symbolically going to the 110th floor to show we will never forget the promise made to keep their memories alive. He's going vertical for his family left behind. His wife Diane, daughter Melissa, I believe his sister name is Janice. Pushing him up until we reach the 110th floor. Coming to you live from Sunland Park, New Mexico in the gym. This is the 343 commitment and still counting. Pushing it toward the next milestone of 225 brothers to have been carried vertical. This one's 219. The climbs are going to be off and on due to shift work, but also due to the fact in 7 weeks I graduate college with a bachelor's degree. So I've got the last class that I've got to get through, and I'm going to make these climbs as much as I can, because a commitment was made, a promise was kept, and will continually be kept to take our brothers onward to the 110th floor, symbolically carry them to the top of the towers. And right now, Henry Miller Jr. is going to the top. My brother was going to be an accountant and changed that to follow his father's footsteps. I believe it was Henry Sr., from what I read. He responded to the World Trade Center bombing in 1993 and received an injury. But I believe what I read also is he had 38 years on FDNY. Henry Miller Jr. put in 28 years of service to the citizens of New York. And for that, we will always remember. He loved his family. He loved scuba diving, fishing, and did some handiwork. This 110 is to keep our brother's memory alive. To never forget, but instead to always remember. Going towards the next floor. Pushing them all the way up. Coming up on a little over 40 floors with 11 minutes in on this climb. For nobody's perfect. Ladder 105 into 219. We go vertical. Right here's our brother. This is his climb. We're going to reach the 110th floor. Going to the top as we speak. It said he was 45 by the time he got married to his wife Diane. Had a daughter Melissa. Excuse the lack of information at times. I try to remember everything after reading it and provide the story. So, this is Henry Miller Jr.'s 110 floors to reach the top. One thing I did find out is he was from, I believe it said he grew up in Queens, and his wife and his family lived in Rockaway. So right now, this 110 is being given an honor of respect for the sacrifices made on and after 9/11/2001. The 343 commitment is still counting. Memorial stair climb is about taking each one of the 343 brothers to the 110th floor. Each one at a time, with a story told on social media, so they won't be forgotten. Following the Ansel counting, those who work the pile for days, weeks, months, They'll go up by year. Is the way I have it set right now. This is 110 floors. For Brother Henry Miller Jr. Pushing him up. All right. Coming up on the 60th floor of 110. A little over 15 minutes into this climb for our brother Henry Miller Jr. The driver, chauffeur of Ladder 105 on 9/11/2001. He was part of the response to the greatest rescue effort in U.S. history. So right now, with honor and respect, we're going vertical. This climb is dedicated to the FDNY, off and on the line, so nobody's perfect. Ladder 105, engine 219, they're out of Brooklyn. It's his wife Diane, his daughter Melissa, and family left behind. This 110 is symbolically taken him to reach the top of the towers. Three more verticals left on this climb. To push it all the way up for Henry Miller Jr. to reach the top. Taking it vertical as we speak. This is the 343 commitment and still counting. 110 floors for firefighter Henry Miller Jr. Ladder 105. Pushing him up until we reach the 110th floor. And this climb will be over. Another one on the completion list. Coming up on the last two verticals of this 7 verticals. It is turning into a sauna today. Pushing him up. So we reach the top. Our brother, Henry Miller Jr. Ladder 105. For his wife Diane, daughter Melissa, and his family left behind. He will not be forgotten. I'm hoping to get the 10th milestone of 225 brothers before I go back to New York City to climb World Trade Center 3 in May. Or more if I can. But like I said, right now, work and school are happening. So now we're on the second last vertical, and this 110 floor Memorial Stair Climb for firefighter Henry Miller Jr., the driver at Ladder 105. Nobody's perfect. Housed with Engine 219. Our brother was originally going to become an accountant and changed that thought following his father into the FDNY. His father had a 38-year career with the FDNY, and Henry Jr. was able to actually retire several times. It was said that he was talking about retiring 2 years later, before 9/11. So we're going up to the 110th floor. A handyman, scuba diver, outdoorsman. My brother was a husband, a father, a brother to us, and a family man to his family. We will not forget the sacrifice that was made on and after 9/11/2001 so that others could live. "87 floors up, 23 minutes in. Pushing him all the way to the top. Here's our brother right here. This is his climb. Carrying him with honor and respect to reach that top. Pushing him up. We'll finish on the 100th or 101st floor. A few floors left, and the 219th climb. will be completed. For ladder 105 and into 219, this is your climb. Nobody's perfect. Going up for the third time. This time for driver Henry Miller Jr. Pushing him up. Till we reach it. Five more floors till the end of this last vertical. Pushing them up. We're almost to the top. We're gonna reach it. For firefighter Henry Miller Jr., FDNY, 28-year veteran. We're going north. Pushing them all the way up. All right. It's 101 floors in now. We'll get there. 9 floors left on this 110th floor Memorial Star Climb for our brother right here. What is it? Be right there. 102 floors in. Gotta respond to a call. I'll be back. All right. Let's try this for the last few floors. Technically, this thing wants me to do 14 floors at the minimum, so I'm going to do 14 floors. So, before I rolled out to the call, I was talking about Henry Miller Jr. This climb is dedicated to the FDNY off and on the line, to ladder 105, to into 219, Nobody's Perfect out of Brooklyn, and I know this is probably going to be one of the shortest climbs I've ever done, because I already got to 102 floors before I got a call. So I just want to make sure that I follow through all the way. This climb is additionally dedicated to his wife, Diane, his daughter, Melissa, his family left behind, his sister, Janice. This is your climb. I'm just carrying him to reach the 110th floor. This is the 343 commitment. And still counting. 110 floors. In loving memory of Henry Miller Jr., the driver of ladder 105 on 9/11, 2001. Was part of the greatest rescue effort in U.S. history on the back of the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. So right now, finishing up the last few floors for ladder 105. The third brother to be carried up, along with Captain Brunton. He's about to hit the top. So we've already reached the 110th floor, and I'm just getting a few extras in that it is wanting me to finish. This 110 floors was in honor and memory of Henry Miller Jr. 28 years on the job, followed after his father's footsteps, who had 38 years on the job. So this is finishing it up right here. The last two floors on this 110 that surpassed. So now, after coming back from another call, we've reached the top. Actually a little over, but he understands. So, Brother Miller, rest easy, you're at the top.